Welcome in to the Toyota Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. This is the DNVR Avalanche pregame show, brought to you by Coors Light and Bet365. Eric and Rudo coming to you as the Avs are taking on the Dallas Stars. After the Avs lost the other night, I did not think this game was going to matter, but Dallas went and lost to the Chicago Blackhawks last night, so there is still a glimmer of hope for Colorado to win the Central Division. But to do that, they absolutely have to win this game in regulation. No questions asked. It is a must-win for them if they want first in the Central. Eric, is there pressure tonight? Or after the loss the other night, are the Avs feeling a little bit free?
Well, I mean, I think there is pressure. If you look at the stretch of games coming up here till the game 82, right, which is the end of the season, who knows how that's going to be that game. If Edmonton, like, who knows where they're going to be. They might be like, we're not. I mean, you know what I mean? And then they're talking about playoffs starting that Saturday.
Yep.
So you would think Edmonton would be playing. Again, I'm jumping ahead here, but so maybe that game goes out the window where, you know what I mean, if you need to win it at the Avs, you should win it. But then you got Vegas that, you know, is the defending champs. And again, those are teams you're going to be meeting in the playoffs here. Then you got Dallas tonight, which is why we're here tonight. I think there is pressure to do good because you just said it. You want to give yourself, and don't kid yourself, Winnipeg won too, so they're creeping up right behind you. So at least you want to get some home ice, right? I mean, now you don't expect. It's funny because you show everyone that anybody can lose to anybody. You know what I mean? So Dallas goes and
drops one to Chicago,
Zamboni, whatever we call it, 8 in a row, and then you go lose to the worst, second worst team in the league. So shit happens, So, but then it's a gift to the Avs. Now you got to win that game, like you said, to put yourself within 1 point of them faltering somewhere down the road, and then you winning that game that they falter, and then you control your destiny for. You don't control it right now, but in order to get to it, you have to win that game tonight. So yes. To win the division, if you care about winning the division, tonight's a must-win.
Eric, who's in worse shape tonight? I know you hate the 3s and 4s for the Avs. Dallas on a back-to-back with some weirdness with the travel because of the wind here in Colorado. Who do you think's going to be weaker legs?
Well, it sure helps that the wins of the hockey gods yesterday were in Denver and pushing some wins and didn't let Dallas, which was an easy back-to-back in a sense that it was an afternoon game in Dallas, in Chicago, and then coming here, then they weren't allowed to fly, and they didn't fly until this morning. So it does make it for a little bit of a preseason game where you fly game, the day of a game, which is weird. And guys are creatures of habits, and it does throw you off. And it's 8:15 game tonight, right? So it's 9:15 for them because they've been in Chicago and Dallas in the time zone. So it is a weird game for them. I'm talking about Dallas Stars on a back-to-back. Again, they're professional athletes. They should be able to, but nonetheless, it's still a factor. It's still a fact. Yep. Now, as far as the Avalanche, you hear me say it all the time. I didn't like that last back-to-back. Again, when I say I don't mind back-to-backs, it's when they're normal. But when you go to bed at 4 in the morning, it's a tough back-to-back. When I say back-to-back in the East, when the Avs play the Rangers and then the next night play Jersey, that's totally different. Last game, it was a fact. They didn't have any legs. They didn't have any energy. They went to bed at probably 4 a.m. We did the math and talking to a few guys this morning at the rink. So, but I always say 3 and 4 is the one I hate. So this is the third game in 4 nights for the Avalanche. This is the one that it hits you. Again, there's nothing to save it for. They have day off tomorrow.
Yep.
And just play. And they're missing some key pieces. Obviously, we'll talk about it, but give it all you got tonight. And yes, it makes it a little more of a fair playing field that that they flew in, this morning, and they did play yesterday. But again, the Avs have had a tough 3 and 4 as well. So, like you said, it might not be the best hockey game, but it's certainly be hard fought by both teams because there's a lot to play for tonight.
You mentioned it. Avs missing a couple of guys. No Mikko. I don't think that's all that much of a surprise to anyone after the hit the other night. But also no Miles Wood, who out with a quote-unquote lower body injury.
I guess it happened at last shift of the game, his last shift. So.
Avs are a bit thin. You were saying it before. Obviously, Mikko the biggest missing piece there, but a bottom 6 with Chris Wagner and Joel Kiviranta back on the 4th line. Yakov Trenin moving up to the 3rd line. Parise jumping into your top 6.
Yep.
Should the Avs be concerned about that, or is this it doesn't matter who you're icing tonight, you got to beat Dallas?
Well, yeah, you got to beat Dallas, and then again, you're missing a big piece. Mikko's a big piece. He's a 100-point guy in the league. I mean, this is, what is he, 6th or 7th in scoring in the league? So, Mikko is a big piece of the Colorado Avalanche. So someone's going to have to step up, and maybe that helps Parise. We were talking last game, and again, I say it all the time, it's tough to play 8, 9, 10 minutes. It's not easy, man, when you're used to playing more. And, he was a little bit invisible, so to speak, not disrespecting his game. But, there was penalties, and, it just, all of a sudden, he just kind of fell out. Now, maybe tonight that helps him. And this is a guy that, you get top 6 minutes, and he's been around this league for a long time. He's been in those positions. He's been in those big games. He knows what it takes. So, you know what? Mikko not being there might be a blessing, too. Mikko's, 160 games in a row without sitting
quite
out.
a few,
So, maybe it's good for him to miss a couple games and be more fresh next week. So, but then it gives the opportunity for a guy like Parise to, step up and maybe eat a little more. Yeah, and go from there.
We'll get to the last guy in a little bit. Let's hit your 3 keys before we have the goalie conversation.
Well, right away, I'm saying get emotionally involved right away. Find your legs. You heard Bednar after the game last game. We didn't have our legs. We didn't find our game, and they didn't. And we just touched upon it. Tonight is a little bit of the same thing with 3 and 4 nights. So you got to manage the game better than yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about last game there coming up, but you got to manage the game better than you did yesterday and get back on track. So get emotionally involved. It's a big game. It's a must-win, like you just said. If you want to win the Central, it's a must-win. Number 2, be the hardest working team on the ice. Tonight, you have to. This is when you dig deep. This is where you work out in the summer. This is where you go through a grueling season, because of games like tonight. It is a tough game. It's a tough game for both sides. So be the hardest working guy. You line up at the face-off, the guy next to you. Make sure you just outwork him. And then at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. And talent usually takes over. Dallas Stars do have a lot of talent. The Avs have a lot of talent. And that's why I say it should make it for a pretty decent game tonight. So, number 3. Have fun and play with confidence. Get a little bit of swag in you. I didn't feel there was any swag last game. Just get some swag back. You're a top echelon team in the league. Sure, we nitpick their game all the time, but we always say at the same time, we're so lucky to have this team here in Denver. We're so lucky to have those players, those world-class players. So show them who's boss at home. The Avs have been awesome this year at home. Nothing better than tonight having a home game that means a lot, and to get yourself ready for the playoffs coming up and a potential, obviously, opponent in the first couple rounds. So should be interesting to see, and I think this is going to be a good one.
Does it mean more to anyone besides Alexander Georgiev for a night like tonight? Obviously, the game the other night was not good enough. I don't think anyone would argue otherwise.
Yeah.
Team sticks with him.
Yep.
Give him a go tonight. What do you do if it's good night? What do you do if it's a bad night for that guy?
And that's why I said, I don't care what they say. They can say that there's no issue. On the plane ride home after the game, that was a subject of conversation. It had to be, because it is a tricky situation. That's why I'm going to get into to talk a little bit about last game. And I caught a little bit of flack on Twitter there last game after the game. And, one guy said, because I said I didn't like numbers. And I want to point out something about numbers, and you know that, right? Like, I'll say it on camera right here. I love the fact Rudo, Megan, and AJ are outstanding with numbers. They're way better than I am, but I've never been against numbers. You know what I mean? Like, it's never been my forte, but I'm not that guy, even though Rudo gives it to me all the time about the red line. I am not the guy that's like doesn't want to evolve with the game. I like to pride myself that I've evolved with the game over the years, and and again, I say it all the time. They're so much better than we were back then. In that sense, what I said last game is I didn't like numbers. I meant I didn't like numbers for an example, because you and me were arguing off camera, and I said you're going to look at the underlying numbers about, for example, possession, and you're getting killed. Of course you're getting killed. My point was, you go to bed at 4 a.m, you are dead tired. So you know that going in. As a game plan, it's like, guys, we're going to stick to our systems. We're going to manage the puck well. And when we are in our zone, we're going to be really tight. There will be no cheating. And you might not have the puck. And remember, like, they had the time. They had times where they had the puck for 2-3 minutes at a time, and they were pinned down. But I didn't feel that they were in danger. I didn't feel that they were in danger. But there's a reason that they're and again, I'm not coming here. And the guy said I just bash goaltending. No, goaltending is a big piece of your team. So on a game like last game, there's a reason why Georgiev had not played in a couple games, had not played in a week when you think about it. He was a well-rested guy because they knew it was a scheduled loss. And then you're like, we're going to give ourselves a better chance. We're going to put our guy in. Now, with what I was just saying about the numbers, you're getting punched in the mouth in the numbers, but you're still right there in the game. And in order for you to win the game, even though you're getting punched in the mouth in the numbers and the possession numbers and things like that, if your goaltending is adequate, you have a chance to win the game. He wasn't. That is not being critical of goaltending. It's a fact. Jared Bednar this morning at the presser, first thing he said, yeah, he wasn't good. He needs a bounce-back game. It's a fact. That is not pushing. That's not being a goalie killer. And that's what I meant about, and you guys know that about numbers, and I love numbers, and those guys are so good at it. By the way, just so you know, I'm telling our viewers, like, AJ Rudo and Megan are outstanding. And I learn so much every day from these guys because it's not something that's always been my go-to, you know what I mean? But I do believe in the numbers, and I think that, and again, you do believe in the eye test as well, and that's why there's a combo of both.
They can't exist without each other.
That's
you're
what
only
I'm
look
saying.
At one, you're not getting the full
But
picture.
my point is it's a scheduled loss. You're going to get killed in the numbers, but you might win in one place, which is the scoreboard, if your goaltending is adequate. It wasn't. And that's why it was frustrating, for me. So with that said, it is a big bounce back game for him. He owes it to himself. He owes it to his teammates. He owes it to the organization. You don't want a goalie controversy, but you don't have a good performance tonight. Then you're like, holy crap. It's not that you want it, but it's like you got to talk about it. And because it's a big part of hockey.
Yep.
Goaltending, special teams, we talk about it like depth. If one of them is missing, it's tough to win games, especially in the dance when only 16 teams, and then 10 days later you're down to 8 teams. So somewhere, somehow, he has to be better. Am I hoping that he has a better game tonight? Absolutely, because it is a big test for him and the rest of the team.
We'll see. I totally understand it from the Avs point of view. Look, the Avs believe this is their starter. They believe this will be the guy in net for him game one. You got to give this guy another game. You got to say, hey, we still believe in you to be that goaltender for us.
Absolutely. It's the right call.
My only concern is if he gives up 6 tonight, then what do you do?
I know.
But
I know, because you're getting close and close and close to the dance. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You're missing your pair of shoes. It's tough to go dancing. You know what I mean? Like, you go dancing barefoot. I don't know, but you gotta figure it out and figure it out quick.
Avs are going footloose, I guess. I don't know.
I like that. I threw it at you. Wide open.
For Colorado, though, I think this is a team that, look, the core of it is no stranger to high-pressure games, high-pressure situations, right? So they shouldn't be a team that is overly concerned about a big game for the Central Division. Is there? Let me ask you it this way: where is the balance of putting pressure on themselves and too much pressure? Because at times I think we've seen the Avs. You didn't love the swagger you said it the other night. Is that a result of them not putting enough pressure on themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point you're making. I think if you like it or not, John Tortorella, whether you like him or not, he had a big point last week when he's talking about the playoffs. So he said there's some guys that don't know how to play in those high pressure situations, and because I do believe he was talking to Morgan Frost, but
yeah, he
whatever
definitely was.
But what I'm trying to say is, whether you like Torts' delivery or not, he is right. Some guys, Avalanche 4 years ago, I mean, you could have been talking about those guys.
Yep.
Nate, and like all those guys, you got to learn how to win in those tight situations. You got to learn how to win in those pressure situations. Obviously, the Avalanche have those guys because they've done it, and that's why they're locked up. That core is locked up for years to come because they know how to do it. They have done it, and they want to do it again. So now it's a matter of bringing the other guys along to make sure that they do think like you. And tonight is a test to see. We were just talking about
exactly
Georgie. You know what I mean? Who knows, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's pass the test tonight, and then you're like, okay, then you feel better next week as teammates on, all right, he can pass the test like we have done it over the years, and he wasn't there 2 years ago as a Stanley Cup winner. So you're bang on. Tonight, it is a big test for some guys.
All right. Might be a test for some. Might also be a buffet for some. Who's going to eat at Circle K tonight, E?
Can I go first?
Go first.
I'll go first, and I never pick him because I leave him for you guys, but I'm going my Circle K eater. I'm going McKinnon. You know, obviously this freaking Kucherov got 3, and it's awesome. I mean that with all the respect, but got 3 more points yesterday. So you're like, what's Mac behind now? Was it?
It's 4 points.
I just looked like behind. 4 minutes ago. Anyway, I do believe I know he wants to win the Stanley Cup. I know that. And that's the typical answer. But somehow, it does tickle you that you want to win, you know. You want to be the lead. Why not? You want to win the leading scorer of the league. You want to win the MVP of the league. You want to win the Stanley Cup, of course. Individual honors are right there within his reach. So I think it's important. That's why I'm picking him as my Circle eater tonight, Circle K eater, because I do believe he's been so good at home this year. And I think in a pressure game situation and a game last game where, you know, it wasn't much, you know, he'll be much better.
Forget the win the trophies conversation. You're the top guy. You're without Nico tonight.
That's it.
You're missing some of those horses. Yeah. It's got to be you.
I agree.
So I like the Mac.
That's why I stole them from you. But you know, maybe you wanted to say that.
No. I want the guy behind him, Casey Middlestat.
Awesome.
Show up and get it done. Like same reasons. Nathan McKinnon, you have confidence in, regardless of. You know, you could put some beer leaguers next to that guy, and you're like, he'll get it done. Casey Middlestat, look, you got Parise jumping up on that line. You're getting some jumbled up stuff in the top 6. It's got to be you to drive that second line tonight. You've got to show up and make it work for Colorado in a game that matters. Yeah. Let's be real. Casey Middlestat has not played a lot of games that mattered in Buffalo.
Nope.
Pressure is on for a guy like that. Who is he in these important moments? I hope he's good. That's my eater tonight. That's why I want to see him.
I didn't even think about it till you just said it. That's a great point by you because you're right. He has never been put in those situations, and you're making a trade hoping that he is good in those situations. Like I said, it's you never know until they do it. Exactly. I use it. I go all the time. I say it all the time. I was so wrong. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. And the guy was outstanding in his first time, and he's the key part to win the Stanley Cup. So. We're not going to go and bash guys until we see them, but you're right. That's a good test tonight and a good little practice test before the exam in 10 days or so. So I like it.
Tiff, you got an eater tonight?
I need G to eat.
There we go. He needs to eat himself.
Who, Sammy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Sammy to eat.
He needs a poutine. Does.
What's do you like have any special poutine flavors? You're just like normal,
I'm
just
I'm a normal
poutine?
guy.
Okay. I've seen some pretty wild ones.
Yeah, no, I think in the U.S. now, even in Canada now, it's like they make them like gourmet, and it's like, buddy, I just want a poutine, you know.
The Wheat Kings had like a special going on where like every player like had their own flavor of poutine, and some of them were putting like crazy stuff in there, like ice cream and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, just I'm good. Give me the fries, the gravy, and the
cheese curd, and you're good to go.
I'm good to go. Blake used to put ketchup on there, too. It's like, oh, God.
Don't eat weird poutine. Eat your snacks from Circle K. Get over there. Get part of the Inner Circle rewards today at CircleK.com/Inner Circle. When you sign up, you get 25 cents off a gallon for your first 5 fill-ups and amazing snack deals every single game day. Use that QR code on screen to download the app and get part of the Inner Circle today. All right, let's move right along to my bets here. I'm I usually don't lean into this on my bets, but I'm feeling the X-player curse a little bit tonight.
All right.
Taking the Avs to cover, plus 190. Given that Dallas is on a back-to-back, I think pretty good money for the opportunity. But I'm taking the Valanciushkin goal, going with him murdering Dallas. If you want to really go hard on the X-player curse, you can, of course, take Matt Duchene as well. Yoel Kiviranta's down the lineup. You got options with your X-player curse. I'll leave it to you that way. And then the Jonathan Drouin power play points, just too good of money at plus 270 for me to pass up on that top unit. You need the Avs to start winning some special teams battles a little bit more effectively. Eric talked about that a little bit earlier. Drouin, a guy that has been feeling it a little bit lately, so hopefully he can keep that point streak rolling for himself and help the Avs get the win tonight. Help yourself to get some winning bets at Bet365. When you go over there, of course, must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. And when you do sign up with Bet365, you must be using the DNVR 365 code to get a bunch of amazing boosts. Any final thoughts here, Eric, as we start to get within 10 minutes of puck drop?
Yeah, and again, just to close on last game too, I want to go back at we were talking about the pushback, and again, this is not a caveman take. I'm saying the hit Ekholm on Mikko is a great hit. It's not a bad hit, and I'm like you. I think it's so stupid. You have good hits, you have to go fight a guy because it's a good hit. But you know what? Sometimes you have to answer the bell, and the other team didn't like it. So I just didn't like the Avs pushback. I'm not talking about fighting. I'm not saying that they should have fought. I just thought that could have woke maybe them up, but maybe sometimes you have no gas, and it looked like they had no gas, and that's what I meant by I didn't like the pushback. I wasn't saying you should start a bench brawl by any means, not a caveman take. I'm all for, hey, you know what, let's respond, and let's respond the right way between the whistles, no stupidities. But I didn't feel that there was a response, and maybe that's my answer for they were really out of gas. They had nothing left. So I think tonight you see more legs from the Avs. I think you see a team that's a little hungrier, and I think you're going to see my dog tonight that's going to be flying on the screen where you didn't really see a lot of that last game.
Operations are simple here. They were out of gas. Go to a Circle K gas station, get yourself filled up, pop off in the first period, get yourself a 3-0 lead, crack a Coors Light and chill. It's that easy.
Boom.
Score prediction?
I'm going to go low tonight.
Low.
I'm going to go lower. So I'm going to go 3-2. Good guys.
I'm going to say 4-3.
All right.
Tiff? 3-1. Okay.
That's an empty netter right there.
Yep. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy in this one. We'll see what happens in the game. We do have a watch-along coming your way in just a couple of minutes here, so tune into that if that's your thing. If not, at least join us for the post-game. We'll break down whatever happens in this one. We appreciate y'all, and we will talk to you in a few minutes.
We all silly like the mayor.